in an Amazon movie with Lily Collins and Brie Larson. That's right. She's playing herself in a very
fortune. She's going to do what she thinks right for her and blow everybody else.
Markle is cooking with love, especially when it comes to meals for her husband, Prince Harry.
It started as a whisper inside Amazon Studios, just a tiny, almost harmless rumor floating between assistants and producers. But within hours, it exploded into a Hollywood thunderstorm. The word was out. Jeff Bezos was done with the Sussexes. No negotiations, no second chances done. And when that message reached Meghan Markle in Montecito, sources say she absolutely fell apart. Tears, panic, disbelief, the works. One of the last major pillars supporting her Hollywood comeback had just been kicked out from under her feet. And let me tell you, this wasn't your average celebrity hiccup. This was a nuclear-level shakeup that sent shockwaves through every executive suite in Hollywood. People were scrambling, phones were ringing off the hook, and suddenly, everyone was questioning just how fragile the Sussex brand really was. So, what went wrong behind those glossy doors? Why did one of the richest, most powerful men in the world suddenly decide Meghan and Harry weren't worth the investment anymore? And what happened when Meghan realized her Hollywood dream was slipping right through her manicured fingers?
Today, look out, Lauren Sanchez. Meghan Markle is coming for your man.
Stick around, because what you're about to hear is pure chaos. Let's rewind, shall we? Because this meltdown didn't just happen overnight. It was the result of months of tension bubbling behind the scenes at Amazon. Rumors were spreading like wildfire, executives frustrated, producers confused, projects getting postponed, meetings mysteriously canceled. Nobody could get a straight answer about timelines, direction, or even what the final product was supposed to be. Insiders started whispering that the Sussexes' ideas were everywhere, scattered, unfocused, and impossible to pin down. Every discussion felt like Meghan and Harry were chasing that same Oprah interview magic over and over again. You know the one, the sunlight, the tears, the dramatic pauses. That perfect TV moment they'd been trying to recreate for years.
Bezos. But overnight, Radar Online has reported that she has now been caught on camera.
But here's the thing, Amazon wasn't buying it anymore. They wanted fresh, structured, sellable content. Instead, they kept getting therapy sessions on camera, emotional, self-centered, repetitive. Every time producers tried to bring focus to production, the Sussexes drifted into talk about changing the world and impacting culture. Admirable goals. Sure, but that's not what keeps a streaming giant running. Viewers subscribe for entertainment, not enlightenment. And Bezos knew it. The pattern became obvious. Amazon executives were losing patience. Their enthusiasm turned into eye rolls. They'd expected polished content, but what they got felt like an endless echo of that interview energy. All talk, no substance.
Let me tell you what really went down at Kris Jenner's birthday party. Jeff Bezos, yes, that...
And that's when Jeff Bezos, the man who built Amazon into a global empire, decided he'd had enough. He's not the type to tolerate chaos or indecision. Insiders say the turning point came after the Kardashian incident, some overblown moment at a birthday party that turned into a PR circus. Instead of quietly attending, Meghan somehow became the main attraction again. And let's just say, that didn't go unnoticed. Executives watching from the sidelines were mortified. They started asking themselves if this partnership was even worth the constant drama. Because here's the truth, billion-dollar companies don't babysit celebrities. You deliver results, or you're replaced. 6 words that turned Meghan's world upside down. Amazon wanted content, not crises. They didn't have time for ego management or emotional rewrites.
There is no shortage of news. So let's get to this new reporting from Rob Shooter, who...
You deliver, or you're replaced. Simple, brutal, final. And that line? That was Meghan Markle's nightmare come true. Behind closed doors, things were unraveling fast. The executives could see it, projects were stalled, enthusiasm evaporating. Even Bezos, who usually delegates, was now fully aware of how messy this had become. When Jeff Bezos senses a partnership's going south, it's not a question of if it ends, it's when.
Oh, buckle up, because this story doesn't walk, it struts. Word from the Hollywood streets says Meghan Markle...
And the countdown had already begun. Meghan felt it in her bones. You know when you can tell something's off, but nobody says it out loud? That was her life now. Meetings that once lasted hours were suddenly cut to 15-minute check-ins. Calls that used to come daily were now ignored for days. Emails went from, "We love this direction," to "Let's circle back next quarter," the dreaded Hollywood phrase that really means you're done.
Oh, buckle up. Let me tell you what really went down at Kris Jenner's birthday party. Jeff Bezos, yes, that Jeff.
The energy had changed completely. Executives who once hung on her every word were now scrolling through their phones mid-meeting. Meghan wasn't being told no directly, but she didn't have to be. The silence said it all. And then, as if to drive the message home, Amazon started announcing new projects. Big-name directors, Oscar-winning producers, fresh faces with proven track records. Each announcement was a not-so-subtle message to Meghan. We've moved on.
Almost the same thing from Woodard's for half the price? Yes. So, this is what she says. So she says,
That phrase, "circle back next quarter," haunted her. She'd been in Hollywood long enough to know what it meant. Her projects were shelved. Not canceled outright, just forgotten. Out of sight, out of mind. And as Amazon kept rolling out high-profile deals with other creators, each press release felt like another door slamming shut. Within weeks, it was crystal clear. Amazon was pivoting away from celebrity vanity projects and toward proven, bankable content. Meghan and Harry weren't just being ghosted, they were being erased. When the official word finally dropped, Meghan reportedly locked herself in her Montecito room for hours. No staff, no calls, no makeup team, just her, alone, realizing her comeback was collapsing in real time. Her Hollywood dream, the one she'd fought to rebuild after leaving royal life, had cracked. Inside the mansion, the energy was ice cold. The usual buzz of staff and assistants was gone. Phones silent. Curtains drawn. Harry was pacing, frustrated, and lost. He couldn't wrap his head around it. Another massive door slammed shut. First Spotify, now Amazon. The pattern was undeniable. The tension between them was thick. Meghan was furious at the industry, at the betrayal, maybe even at fate itself. But underneath that anger was something worse: fear. Because when billionaires walk away, everyone else does too. And Harry? He could feel it. This wasn't just a bad week. This was their entire Hollywood chapter imploding. Social media exploded like a wildfire. Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, everyone had an opinion. Supporters blamed sexism and media bias. Critics mocked her downfall mercilessly. Gossip pages flooded with think pieces. Industry insiders whispered the same words over and over: brand fatigue. Hollywood had simply had enough. And then came the leak, the one that sent everything spinning out of control. An anonymous Amazon producer couldn't stay silent any longer and spilled everything. They claimed Meghan's final pitch meeting had been a disaster. She'd walked in glowing with confidence, armed with a polished deck and that royal charm, but what the exec saw was chaos. The producer described it perfectly. It felt like she wanted another Oprah moment, but Amazon doesn't do therapy sessions. We do binge-worthy content. That quote spread through every studio faster than wildfire. Brand fatigue. The two words every celebrity fears. Hollywood had heard her story again and again, and now they were simply over it. That final pitch? Painful. Meghan spoke passionately about influence, impact, and changing the world, while the executives wanted one thing: numbers, deadlines, viewership projections, budgets. They didn't hear any of that. They heard idealism, not business. The tension was unbearable. Executives exchanged looks, silently agreeing. It was over. When the meeting ended early, Meghan thought it went fine, that they just needed time to process. But a week later, Bezos made his move. Quiet, cold, surgical. He didn't issue a statement or make a call. He just went silent. And in Hollywood, silence from Jeff Bezos is louder than any public rejection. That silence was his answer. And when the silence hit the press, the media frenzy was instant. Helicopters over Montecito, paparazzi outside the gates. Every gossip site ran the same headline: Bezos pulls the plug. Then came the official spokesperson, line 20, chilling words that changed everything. We are reviewing our partnerships and adjusting future commitments accordingly. No names, no explanations, but everyone knew exactly what it meant. Hollywood read between the lines. Doors that were open yesterday, closed. Relationships that seemed solid, over. Every studio, every streaming service, every PR agency started pulling back. Meghan and Harry had become the risk. Within days, Meghan went into damage control. She started calling everyone she knew: producers, influencers, brand reps, PR managers. She was ready to fight back, to reclaim her narrative, to prove that one deal didn't define her. Emails flew, calls were made, meetings proposed, but nothing came back. The phone had stopped ringing. Those who once begged to work with her suddenly had full schedules. Publicists who specialized in fixing scandals said they were at capacity. Even the social climbers, the influencers who once tagged her hoping for a repost, went silent. Overnight, she became radioactive. Harry tried to keep her spirits up, insisting it would blow over. But Meghan knew, when billionaires retreat, the rest of Hollywood runs. The silence was louder than the headlines now. Sitting in her Montecito office, Meghan opened her laptop, maybe hoping to see some positive coverage. But what stared back at her was one headline dominating every feed, every platform, every trending page. Bezos cuts royal ties, Sussex future uncertain. It wasn't a rumor anymore. It was fact. The entire industry had moved on without them. And that's when the reality sank in. Hollywood, the world Meghan thought she could master, had simply turned the page. The dream, the empire, the comeback gone. Not with a bang, but with silence. Because in this industry, when the powerful stop returning your calls, your story's already over. The Sussexes had walked away from royalty believing Hollywood would embrace them. Instead, they learned the most brutal truth of all: fame is fleeting, influence fades, and when even billionaires walk away, no one looks back. So here we are, Meghan Markle's Hollywood dream, shattered by one quiet move from Jeff Bezos, a single decision that spoke louder than any statement ever could. And yet, even after the silence settled over Montecito like a storm that refused to move on, Meghan couldn't bring herself to accept defeat. She sat in that grand living room, surrounded by the symbols of success, marble tables, scented candles, awards that once felt like stepping stones to greatness, and stared at her phone, refreshing it again and again, waiting for something, anything. Maybe a message from an old producer friend, or a supportive quote from an ally in the industry, but nothing came. The digital world that once adored her had gone eerily quiet. Inside, the frustration simmered. She'd always believed she could rewrite her own story, that every setback was just a setup for the next big comeback. But this felt different. The silence wasn't just rejection, it was exclusion. She wasn't being criticized anymore. She was being ignored, forgotten. Harry tried to fill the silence with optimism, pacing around, talking about how they'd reinvent themselves again, maybe focus on philanthropy, maybe documentaries about hope and humanity. But Meghan barely heard him. Her mind was replaying that last meeting, those blank stares, the moment she realized she'd lost the room. It was the look of people who'd already made their decision. And outside, the cameras still lingered. Photographers hiding behind hedges, drones circling above, waiting for that one emotional photo, the shot that would say it all, the Duchess defeated. But Meghan wasn't crying anymore. She was planning. Quietly, fiercely, for the next move no one would see coming.